Bet on Bears fans, another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. Pat the Designer here at Camp Practice, day 5. An interesting day at camp, to say the least. First day in full pads. Love to see that. Love to see the pads popping, as they say. And I'll tell you this, seeing Luther Burden back on the field, it's a start in the right direction. Got to talk about that and how the O-line looked today. All that and more on today's episode of the Chicago Bears podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Today's episode is brought to you by the Advantage Dealer Group. Find your next Chevy, Toyota, or Acura and drive off in under 60 minutes, or they'll make your first car payment. Also brought to you by the Hard Rock Casino in Northern Indiana. Las Vegas style gaming, just 30 minutes from Soldier Field, exit 6 right off of I-80-94. All right, let's get some of the housekeeping out of the way here. First, Luther Burden returning to the field. Now, he was only out there in the half-speed drills, but this is how we saw Braxton Jones get ramped up. There's nothing to be worried about the fact that he didn't do more out there today. I like the fact that we're seeing him back on the field, especially with pads. And what I did especially like about that period was every time Caleb Williams got in a play and called a play, he was right to his spot, which means that he has been in his playbook. They've talked about that a ton in some of these pressers where, you have to see him in meetings and how's he doing and is he being engaged. When you see it play out on the field, it really just does confirm all of that. Glad to see Luther Burden back out there. Didn't see a ton from him today. There's nothing really to take away from anything you saw from him today, but very good to see him, although he did get a ball thrown his way in theory. So, we know he's going to be utilized in this offense. We know that as well because we see Olamide Zaccheaus getting a ton of opportunity as this offense probably had its best day from an 11-on-11, 7-on-7 period standpoint. And I thought that, another step in the right direction. Clearly not a finished product here on the offensive end, but how Caleb Williams was going through his reads, getting the football out, still seeing some of that simulated pressure be brought in. I thought that he was delivering the ball probably the best that we've seen in that period. And it's just seeing those steps in the right direction, I feel like truly does mean that he is continuing to take in the information that he's getting, utilize the information that he has at the moment, and build on that day over day. Remember, well, I guess you guys can't remember. We didn't drop here over the weekend, but on Saturday, we saw the offense's best day in practice from a 2-minute drill standpoint. And Caleb methodically went down, hit every single pass he needed to hit, ended up throwing a beautiful fade to Rome Odunze in the end zone. And my question was, okay, well, how do you build on that coming into this week? You've seen the success in the real game situations, but we haven't seen that success in the 11-on-11, in the 7-on-7 periods. We saw that today a little bit more, and just seeing Caleb Williams be as confident as he is and feeling as confident as he is in this system right now, that's all I'm looking for right now. We are 5 days into camp here. I'm not expecting him to look like Tom Brady just yet. Give him some time to figure it out, and I think he's going to start to move in the right direction. The big takeaway from today, though, I thought was in the one-on-ones. We saw the offensive line go out there and look really, really good. And I don't think that I've ever said this in my Chicago Bears podcast history. Dare I say the offensive line looked dominant today. It was outside of going up against Grady Jarrett, which I think what going up against Grady Jarrett ends up being in the right. We know what Grady Jarrett brings to the table. But outside of that, you saw an offensive line go out there. I saw Drew Dahlman handle his assignment well. I saw Joe Thuney versus Grady Jarrett back alley. That could be terrifying. They look like two gorillas out there in a cage fighting over dominance. It was one of the best things we saw today. But I thought that it was really good to see just everybody on the offensive line of the new pieces look solid in their one-on-ones and go out there and actually handle what the defensive line was bringing to the table. That's something we don't talk about as Bears fans, and we probably haven't talked about since Olin Kreutz was on this roster. Seeing that from a across-the-board standpoint, I think is a step that it just shows you're truly trying to make some changes in this whole in this team as a whole. And of course, the biggest position we're focused in on, that left tackle position. What is that left tackle position looking like? I thought that in one-on-ones, Aji Trapillo probably had a little bit of an advantage, but him and Braxton Jones both did fine in the one-on-ones. Karan Amagaje kind of was a step behind in that situation. I thought that he got handled a little bit in there and that Ozzie and Braxton were ahead of him, but in 11-on-11, Ozzie went out there, and we saw something today I don't think we've ever seen from a Chicago Bears offense and how they utilize that left tackle competition. Each one of the left tackles getting a rep in the 11-on-11 period. There were 3 periods today, and each one of the left tackles had an opportunity to go out there and show what they can do. Braxton Jones was okay, not great, right? It was one of those. It kind of looked like Braxton Jones. I thought Ozzie Trapillo really showed out. I thought Karan Amagaje kind of got moved a little bit. But here's the thing. They all were at a point where I wasn't nearly as worried as maybe we've been in the past from that left tackle position, if that makes sense, right? It seems like everybody was at a level of, hey, you will survive this season. That's what I'm looking for right now, at least as a basis, because what you have at the left tackle right now is Ozzie Trapillo, who is probably the favorite to win this job, who has, because he is a Ben Johnson guy, he is a Ryan Poles guy, you feel like, okay, he's probably the one who's going to go out there and actually have a real opportunity to be the starting left tackle. Braxton Jones has money that he has to attach to him. And if he's at the same level as Ozzie Trapillo, it truly feels like Ozzie kind of has the advantage in that situation. And Karan Amagaje still trying to figure some things out. He's more of a Ryan Poles guy than probably is a Ben Johnson guy at this point. You've got one guy who stands out. That left tackle spot feels like Ozzie might be in the lead here, but right now how things are looking on the O-line, it kind of all is playing out in an even scale right now as far as that left tackle position. Whoever wins the job, as long as he keeps Caleb Williams upright, that's all I care about. I guess the only thing that really stood apart to me was that there were a few times where Karan ended up getting pushed backwards when the pressure was getting into him. There was one rep in particular where I thought this was probably, and I highlighted this rep, I thought this was probably the best rep that we saw out of this Bears team as a whole, was as the ball was snapped, Caleb Williams drops back, pressure's coming in, Karan kind of getting moved back a little bit. He was probably the weak link there, but Caleb Williams steps up in the pocket, sees the pressure that he has, realizes, okay, I can't make this pass. I got to escape. Gets out of the pocket, tries to throw one of those sidearm, patented Caleb Williams throws where it makes no sense how he's able to get so much power on him. He was trying to get that, I believe it was to Olamide Zaccheaus, and as that ball is released, you see Jaquan Brisker come in out of nowhere, get the hand out. I know training camp for a lot of people is, did the offense win today? Did the defense win today? Did the offense win today? But truly it is, how are the Chicago Bears winning today? And I thought that rep in particular really showed that this was kind of an improvement on both sides of the ball, and both sides are kind of figuring out where the ball needs to go, how I need to defend the ball, how I need to get myself in a position to make a play, right? Like, that was one of those reps where the offense, I thought, did everything that they needed to do. The defense did everything they needed to do. And that's what you want to see more of. That true iron sharpens iron. For so long around here, right, we've had irons trying to be sharpened by marshmallows. And that's not the way that you want to go about this. You want to have that true iron sharpens iron kind of feel. And I thought that play really epitomized what they usually are talking about when they bring that up. Outside of that, though, a different wrinkle that we saw today in this offense, and hit the like button if you're rocking with this, even if you're not, hit the like button. But I thought that DJ Moore in the backfield was a little bit different than something we've seen before. Now, we've seen DJ Moore utilized in kind of these screen passes, which turn into essentially long runs, right, and stuff like that. But we've never seen him, I don't believe, unless I'm mistaken here, being utilized as a pure running back. But how Ben Johnson was doing it, I thought was very strategic, right? Because there was one play where you see Cole Kmet in the backfield, you see DJ Moore in the backfield, you see Colston Loveland split out, right? And they turn around, they hand the football off, DJ Moore takes the ball up the gut, and it's a run play. It's nothing crazy. It's just DJ Moore being utilized as a running back, right? Velus Jones style, wide receiver, or I don't know, we use that term loosely with Velus, but wide receiver in a running back position. But then we saw him utilize that again, except it doesn't turn into a handoff. It turns into Cole and DJ Moore going out for routes, turning themselves into receivers in that situation. And I thought that just seeing the trickery that Ben Johnson can utilize to make this game very difficult for defenses to stop, and starting to see Ben Johnson have an opportunity to kind of scheme up this team in a way that's going to be beneficial for them, and show some of that, I guess, for lack of a better word, trickeration that we saw out of him so much in Detroit, right? Starting to see that come to fruition here in this second week. I was very excited to see that. I thought that it was one of those things where, you're starting to see the mastermind. Okay, now everybody knows where to be. Now I got to start moving the chess pieces around the board. That's one thing that we've been waiting for from Ben Johnson, and we get it the first day of the second week. Hoping to see that continue. If you want to talk about stars of the day, I mean, if you can have that 5 days into training camp, the star of the day, I would say, is probably Colston Loveland and how he's being utilized. I don't know if this is going to be the end all be all when it's all done, right? But it feels like, at least in the couple of days that we've seen Colston on Saturday and today, actually getting into 11-on-11 drills, getting into 7-on-7 drills, being used in a capacity that it feels like he's going to be used in a real game situation. It seems like there may be a want to make this a Brady Gronk or a Mahomes Kelsey kind of situation with quarterback tight end. I'm not saying to that level. Of course, he wants it to be to that level, but I'm not saying it's there yet. But just how he's utilizing it, we're seeing Colston Loveland utilizing this offense a ton here in the couple of days that he's been healthy. And even the passes to Olamide Zaccheaus, the belief is that those are going to be Luther Burden or DJ Moore when the season starts, right? Like, those are the things where using the draft picks that you went out and got this year as the weapons, there's a reason Ben Johnson went out and got those guys. He believes that they're going to be big parts of this offense, and he wants to utilize them in that way. And we're seeing that in how the play calling is gone early on here. I like how much Colston is getting used. I like how much they're getting the ball to him. I don't think there's been anything crazy that has happened yet where it's really blown you out of the water or blown your socks off of what Colston has done, but just the simple utilization of how much he's being brought along in this offense, or how much he's being given in this offense early on, fresh off of an injury. It is something where you kind of look, you say, okay, I can see how that works as you get into the season. I can see how that could be something deadly as you get into the season. I'll tell you what, the one thing that you can see clearly off rip is the explosive ability that Colston Loveland truly does have. As far as practice today, I don't know if there was a desire kind of to throw the ball a lot shorter, or if that's just what Caleb Williams was taking what was given to him, right? There was the pressure that was coming, that simulated pressure that Declan Doyle talked about, and how he was delivering, how Caleb delivered the football today versus that pressure. I thought this probably was the best day that we saw out of him for that. He wasn't sitting there holding on to the ball as long as we've seen him do in the past in those moments. There wasn't a ton of scramble drill. There wasn't a ton of, trying to figure out what decision he needed to make. Today was a lot quicker decisions and getting the ball out of his hands. Again, baby steps in the right direction. I'm not sitting here telling you they're ready for week one, but it does feel like there's a continued improvement. And for all the Bears fans out there who want to lose their mind at every day of training camp, remember, this is what we asked for. We asked for a coach that was going to come in and break down the bad habits of the quarterback and build up new good habits for the quarterback. You don't want to be sitting here talking about Caleb Williams holding on to the football too long or making mistakes pre-snap. You're continuing to build on that day over day. It's what I love about having Ben Johnson in here this early. And the only thing that maybe was a little bit concerning from today, I'm not going to sit here and tell you today was all sunshine and rainbows. A couple of fumbled snaps between Drew Dalman and Caleb Williams, something that I'm sure Ben Johnson is going to highlight when they go look at the tape. I don't know what ended up leading to them because of our vantage point. You couldn't really see who was getting the ball where and when, right? You couldn't see who was dropping the football, or if it was a bad snap by Drew Dalman. I'll tell you this, seeing Drew Dalman in the press conference today, my God, the hands on this guy. He's got Wreck-It Ralph hands. Like, he literally, I can understand how he can be a center the size of Coleman Shelton, but how he controls the defender so easily. I mean, his hands are massive. It was the first time I think I'd ever noticed it, seeing him up close. And it just, I had nothing to do with the center struggles, but like the center to quarterback struggles that we saw today. But it was insane to see how massive his hands were. Dude probably makes a chicken sandwich look like a chicken nugget. The bottom line is, though, today I thought the process that the Bears went through was a better one, and that they're continuing to improve. I thought the only thing that really stood out to me was seeing some of those miscues after the snap happened. But again, They're trying to get Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson talked about this, and Declan Doyle. They're trying to get Caleb Williams to do a lot of his assessment pre-snap so that he can go out there and make those decisions quickly. It seems like we're moving in the right direction with that. So another good day of practice for the Chicago Bears team. Hopefully we see a better day tomorrow as well. First day in pads, though, I think you got to say this is a check on the Bears on the good side and not on the bad side like we started things off week one, where guys are getting thrown out of drills and the entire first team offense is getting thrown out of drills. There's a lot less swearing going on out there as well right now, except for Eric Bieniemy. You hear Eric Bieniemy swearing over the music. You hear Eric Bieniemy swearing over just about anything that is out there. When they turn the music up, the one person you can always hear is Eric Bieniemy. So shout out to EB, man. I'm going to get up out of here. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. As always, hit that like button. Subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We'll have more updates tomorrow. Me and Courtney Cronin back at it tomorrow. Again, tap in with us over here on ESPN Chicago. And, of course, stay tuned into everything we got coming up Bears coverage-wise on ESPN Chicago, ESPN 1000. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love, man. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bread down. One love. Peace.